Hello, this is Carsten OZ9 Alpha Alpha Radio. I have a short video here about my SimpleCalc application, new version 1.0014, which has a few new features, and most importantly is the ability to predict how much noise a attenuator mounted instead of the feed horn in a typical EME system should give you. Now, in my case, I have a 23 centimeter setup on a 4.8 meter dish, and I have an isolation relay on the feed horn that switches the input of the LNA between the RX port of the feed horn and a 50 ohm terminator. So by toggling this relay, I can move the LNA from the RX port and terminate it into 50 ohm instead. This enables me to measure and check the receive chain, as when I put when you put a 50 ohm terminator on the LNA input, you should see the noise increase by 7 or 8 dB compared to cold sky. Now the this feature in SimpleCalc, I made that to help me figuring out what is my noise, my TA value, which is the noise your system picks up from cold sky. This is a combination of many things. The TA, you can read about that other places, but the most important thing here is that TA can be hard to predict, and most I know of just enter some arbitrary number they believe is correct, 20, 18, 30K or whatever number they think is correct. And the number you enter has a big impact on the expected sun to cold, the sun noise you should measure. You can see in this case, if I enter 20 Kelvin, I should see 17.7 dB sun noise. If I instead enter 30 Kelvin, I should see 16.9. And if I enter 10, I should see 18.7 dB. So depending on this number, you could expect to see all kinds of sun noise levels. Now, a resistor on the LNA input is pretty predictable. If it's a resistor of a known good quality, and if you know the temperature of the resistor, which you can measure with a thermometer, you can get pretty close. All of this only works if all other numbers in the system are known and are correct. In my case, I have measured everything I possibly can from on to the radio, and in my case, I have 0.2 dB loss in front of the LNA. That means the relay, the connectors, and whatnot that goes from the input of the LNA to the RX port on the phone has a loss of measured 0.2 dB. The LNA has a noise figure of 0.15 dB, and it has 33.2 dB gain. Now, on the output of the LNA, I have added a 3 dB attenuator. A long story short, this was to avoid the compression of on the radio when I measured the sun noise. So 3 dB. Then I have a piece of coax cable from the LNA to the radio, which has a loss of 4.16 dB. And finally, I have my radio, an ICOM IC9700, which has a noise figure of 8 dB with the internal preamp off, which I'm running with. So all of this gives me a receiver noise figure of 0.41 dB. Now, as I said, the TA value is hard to predict for most people. And if you, on this screen here now, enables the terminator, now you'll see that it will tell you that you could expect to see 8.14 dB noise increase from cold sky to when you put the terminator on. Now, in my case, I measured the difference between cold sky and the terminator, and I did not see 8.14 dB. I saw 7.67 dB of noise instead. So around 0.5 dB less noise. So by clicking or enabling this enable cross-check, something interesting happened. SimpleCalc will now ask me to enter what is my measured actual noise from the terminator. And as I said, in my case, it was 7.67 dB. If I now press TA from measured Y term, it will tell me that SimpleCalc will now, reverse calculate. If you measure 7.67 dB difference between your terminating resistor and the cold sky, SimpleCalc says that, well, if you do that and all the other numbers are correct, which is very important. If they are correct, then SimpleCalc calculates my TA to be 25.58 Kelvin instead. Now, if I just go ahead and press yes, you can see that now is the measured and expected termination noise difference from cold sky is the 7.67 that you just told it. But the TA now changed to 25.58 Kelvin. So if I now disable this one, my expected Y sun level is now suddenly 17.25 dB. And if you remember before, when I had 20, it was 17.71. And if I enter the 25.58, it is lowered by 0.5 dB. So if you are chasing, 0.1 dBs in your system and try to optimize things, this 0.5 dB can be important. And it could be because you have a wrong TA value entered in the system, that you don't see the sun level that you expect. So the terminator is an excellent way of checking your system. How much noise do I see from the terminating resistor? How much noise should I see? And if I don't see what I see, I can have SimpleCalc reverse calculate what is my TA value then. And when you do that, you will then get a new, hopefully more correct expected sun noise level to measure. Now, all of this, as I said, requires that all your data here are correct. This is very important. If they are not correct, it's just garbage you will get. It's not correct. You also need to use the latest and the correct solar flux data. In my case, I use from today, from San Vito in Italy, which is closest to me where I live in Denmark. If I pick something else, you'll see that the expected Y sun or the expected sun noise will change, obviously. And so be careful. And one other thing to notice here, if you look at this field here, this is the normal solar flux on 10.7 centimeters, which we tend to quote when we say, hey, I measured 16 dB sun noise at a solar flux of 95. And then, you can compare with others what they see. One thing, please notice here, here in San Vito, the 10.7 flux is 95. And I'm expecting to see 17.25 dB of sun noise. Okay. Now I select Sag Hill in US instead. Remember, 95 in San Vito. I select this one. Oh, there's a higher number, a higher solar flux number. Then I need to see higher sun noise. No, I don't. See, this is with solar flux 95, solar flux 102, and you see my expected sun noise goes down. This is because that in this case 1296, you see the calculated solar flux index at 1296 is different. Even if the 10.7 solar flux is higher, the calculated solar flux index at 1296 is lower. So this is important. So a high solar flux number is not automatically the same as you need to see higher sun noise. This is just another info here from this setup. So this was a detour, but from what I was really talking about. But yeah, this is just important. So take note of that. Anyway, this was to explain the enable terminator and what it can do. It can help you calculate hopefully a more correct TA in your system. You can find more information and download SimpleCalc on my website www.moonbounce.dk. Thanks for now.